Welcome into Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. We're also brought to you by Goolsby & Young, Fairlife Core Power Protein, Work Hard, Recover Harder, Brent Atkinson with Wycard Realtors, and by Sutton Pools. Welcome in, James Shannon, running the show today. You can't see it down here, but everything's down here. We've got a great show lined up for you guys. At 4:20, we're going to bring in Coach Kurt Beathard. He's from Zion Christian. Of course, not the result they wanted Friday night, but big game, and they've got another big one coming up this Friday night that we'll be at, so we're going to talk to him. At 4:40, we'll have Coach Hunter Wilson. He's from Ezekiel Academy down in Montgomery, Alabama, and they've got a big game coming up. Big win last Friday night, and then they've got another big one coming up this Friday night, kind of an interconference matchup. And then at 5 o'clock, tentatively, we will have Coach Seth Sitzman. I believe that's how you say his name. He's from Vidalia Heritage Academy. And, of course, they are the defending GAPPS champions for, I believe it's Division I. It is Division I. So, great show lined up. But before we get to that, let's talk about this last week of action. You know, the first weekend had, we were able to broadcast two really great games. And the games Friday night and Saturday, but actually, before I go any further, I have to, and if you see me looking down, I'm looking at computer and soundboard and laptop and a whole bunch of stuff going on. But before I go any further, I want to give a big shout out to Andrew Hasley, a young man that joined me Friday night and yesterday for the game. Of course, I'll get to Saturday in a minute. But I want to give a huge shout out to this young man. He was driving back Friday from Georgia, stopped, did the game with me, and then, we left Franklin Classical. We left Freedom Intermediate about 10 o'clock, maybe, 10-ish, just after 10. And we met back up at 6 o'clock and headed out to Blounteville. So, big shout out to him. Did the whole game yesterday, helped pack up, trip back, the whole 9 yards. I think between both of us, I think we got maybe 4 hours of sleep in about 40 hours. So, big shout out, and I really appreciate his help. Yesterday, everything did not go as planned, which happens. Sometimes you can't help it. The internet was not ideal, and that happens sometimes. It comes with the territory. So the video wasn't working well. Halftime, we decided to cut the video off, just go audio only. Again, apologize for that. Absolutely nothing we could have done about it. Tried a couple different internet sources. There's only so much you can do. And I do want to give a shout out to Tri-Cities Christian. Super hospitable. Tennessee Heat contributing as well, being very hospitable in different ways. But Tri-Cities Christian went, and of course they had to have a lift for their film and their PA guy, but also got us a film for broadcast. So very hospitable. They did everything in their power. Just nothing could be done. Now, that probably will be the last game at that field. And, of course, they were very excited to do a game at that field. It's the original field, but they're having a new field and a new campus being built. So probably the last game we'll have there. Next time we get Tri-Cities up in that area, great internet connection. Very, very confident in that. But Friday night, big shout-out to Franklin Classical, very hospitable. It's always a great time getting to go to Freedom Intermediate School and the job they do setting up the game environment there. Not the result they wanted, but there you go. So all that aside and out of the way, the first weekend kind of had some really close games, some last-second games. Last couple minutes of the game kind of decided it. And I knew it was too good to be true. And Friday night and Saturday between Franklin Classical and Tri-Cities, they had areas they struggled, and that's going to happen. That's not, a negative thing. It's going to happen. They were playing two good teams, two teams that really brought their A game, especially later on for Tennessee Heat, it was early on. They had their A game just grinding, just popping. Christian Community Friday night kind of had a little bit of a slower start, and then once the wheels got turning, they got the machine going, they were fine. So Christian Community 38, Franklin Classical 8, and then, of course, yesterday it was Tennessee Heat 40 and Tri-Cities Christian 14. And then other games that happened on Friday night, just go through a whole list of them. Let's start in Alabama. So you had Cornerstone Christian out of Rainsville. They beat Trinity Homeschool 48-0. Evangel Christian 55, Meadowview Christian nothing. Ezekiel Academy 82, North River 37. And then Freedom Cowboys 34, Zion Christian 8. Freedom just controlled that game really from the jump. First half really just dominated, and then Zion Christian trying to chip away at it. So Jacksonville Christian 34, Success Unlimited nothing. So a big win for the Thunder there. And I got to think maybe it's a show impact. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Lighthouse Homeschool 39, Tabernacle Christian 20. That was actually really close in the first half. Lighthouse able to pull away there in the second half. So big win for the Warriors. They go to 2-0, and Tabernacle looks to rebound. Grace Baptist, big shout out to them. Big 20-0 win over Chattanooga Prep. Prep being a first-year varsity 11-man team. And they'll play a couple other schools. I think Ezel Harding's on their schedule, maybe Liberty Creek. So a couple other high schools that are doing 11-man that are waiting for the reclassification, TSSAA reclassification to come up. So big win for Grace Baptist to go back to 11-man, win a game. Now they're back in 8-man. They're honed in. We'll talk about the game they've got coming up later on in the show. And then, of course, Providence Christian, Lancaster Christian, big win for the Lions. Of course, Lancaster kind of had their number. They've had that rumble of Rutherford. Providence coming out of Murfreesboro, Lancaster coming out of Smyrna. Lancaster's kind of dominated that one, but Providence able to get a big win. And kind of been saying this has been a trend. Providence Christian, the last couple years they've been taking their licks. But, could be a dark horse to make some noise in the TSIAA. Of course, they'll have a big game later on this year with Franklin Christian. That'll be a very impactful game. Christian community will face them as well. So that'll kind of tell a whole lot. And they'll also face South Haven, all the other teams in the conference. So, if they can really get through it, could be a sign of good things to come. Switching over to South Carolina, you had the Coastal Hurricanes 64, Orangeburg Christian nothing. You had Jefferson Davis Academy out of the SCISA 12, Pack Panthers 6, and then Lawrence Academy 56, Augusta Eagles 38. So two SCISA teams getting the win over SCIFA teams. So a couple interconference games that didn't quite go the way of the SCIFA. And just checking. Okay. All right. Everything looks good. And then one last one. Jump back to Alabama. You had Lakeside Academy 50, Southern Prep 7. So an 11-man game for Southern Prep. And I believe that's their only one of the year. I think they just focus on 8-man for the rest of the year. So, of course, we'll be waiting for the rankings from the NHSA. They should be coming out this week sometime, possibly even today. They like to drop them right after the show, so we don't have anything to talk about. So there you go. If you're listening, just go ahead and drop them. Just there you go. Of course, it'd be tough. You got a couple teams 1-0, 2-0. It's like where do you put them? A couple weeks. So, a couple other games happened this past Friday night. We covered Lawrence Academy and Augusta, covered Jefferson Davis and Providence. So that's South Carolina, and then Georgia has not gotten fully started yet. I know Lafayette Christian beat New Creation Christian on Friday night. So a big win for them. Heartland Conference hasn't started yet. Their first round of games will be coming up this Friday night. And then the MAIS will have games coming up this Friday night as well. A couple different states are different. Alabama and Tennessee and South Carolina, to an extent, tend to start earlier. And then Mississippi and Georgia and North Carolina as well start a little bit later on. You did have some North Carolina games happening Friday night, though. Wayne Christian is the defending NCISSA. I think I said that right. There's two divisions for 8-man football in that in that association. There's the Big 8 in Colonial Carolina. So they were Colonial Carolina last season, and this season they've moved to the Big 8. So if you remember us talking to Coach Josh Elliott from Cary Christian earlier in the year, he talked about how it's based off of size. So Wayne Christian must have gained some students, gained some players, and they moved them up. But they did play an 11-man game this past Friday night, and they won it. And then, so NHSA is waiting until after next week's games for the rankings. So get a couple more teams that have played some games. I think there's some teams on their rankings that have not played yet. So there you go. There's your answer on that. And thank you for the quick response. Also, this past weekend, you had Faith Christian out of North Carolina taking on Greenbrier Christian out of Virginia, a little interstate matchup, and Faith Christian got the win. So there is 8 men in Virginia. There's a whole conference, and maybe we'll touch on it a little bit later on down the road. But so that's really the recap for this weekend. I'm trying to think, maybe the closest game would have been Jefferson Davis and Pack Panthers. It was a pretty good one all in all. A lot of blowouts this weekend, and you'll have that in 8-man. I do think it's interesting, though, that now with 8-man football and the way it is, of course, you will have, if you have a really bad team, you'll get like a 55-0, an 80-37, a 48-0, 64-0. But then you'll also have blowouts that, it's not as bad. It's 38-8. It's 40-14. It's, one team is controlling the game, and they might back off a little bit to the point where the other team is able to slow them down, maybe even put a couple touchdowns on the board. But just a lot of good football this past weekend in terms of teams really, kind of sorting themselves out. Who's going to be some of the better teams, and really setting up some great matchups for this upcoming Friday night. So that being said, let's go ahead and bring in our first guest. Let's get him queued up here. Let's see. And we will get the good old-fashioned phone ring, if you will. All right, joining me now is the head coach of Zion Christian Academy, new head coach as of a couple weeks ago, Coach Kurt Beathard. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Hey, does everything sound good on your end? No echo? No, everything good?
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, Coach, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Not the result that you wanted Friday night. Obviously, every coach in America wants the win on Friday night. But what did you see out of your guys? Did you see any? I'm sure you had to have. Did you see anything out of your guys that gave you some promise, and especially with some big games, conference games coming up? Did you see anything that gave you some promise to kind of show you what they were capable of?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had kids that had to play multiple positions in a game that they haven't really had to practice, just because, we had some injuries, we had some cramping issues, and we don't have a very heavy loaded roster in the first place. So yes, these kids didn't quit. They played. They finished all the way through the end. So yes, very encouraging.
I was about to say that's a big thing for a coach to see, is that your guys don't give up at halftime, or even earlier than that they keep fighting and they keep trying. That's something that you really can't teach those young men. That's something that they just have to learn themselves and develop themselves. And even if you have a couple leaders that are like that, they can kind of turn the team in that direction. But as a coach, I would assume it's tough to teach that. And so if you've got those leaders that can kind of inspire the rest of the team to do that, that's such a huge positive.
Yeah, I mean, those kids never thought they were defeated. They knew that we just have to do better. I told them, the biggest improvement usually happens between that first and second game. Trying to get everything done. We were kind of a little bit nervous, Friday Night Lights, we played a lot of freshmen who's never been on the field, or some of them haven't had a helmet on. So that was just a big obstacle to overcome.
Now, you guys got to play in the Jamboree a couple weeks ago. You were off last week, but or week before, but first weekend of August, you guys were able to play in the Jamboree on Friday night. You were actually like the first game or second, it's first or second game right off the bat, and got to the guys got to hit somebody other than their teammate. How excited were those guys to actually get out there and hit somebody? And then, over the course of everything that's happened this offseason with, are we going to have football? What is it going to be? Blah, 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 on and on and on. How encouraging was it for those guys to actually be able to get on the field, get some game experience, some playing experience, and just kind of shake the cobwebs off?
Oh, that was huge. I mean, at the Jamboree it was the first time we actually had lines on the field. So that was kind of interesting for them and understanding what 5 yards and spacing is. But yeah, it was good. They get it. They're still getting used to it. They're still learning how to play fast and finishing. But the attitude is great. It was great before the game. It was great after the game. And I'm sure it'll be great again tomorrow.
Now, you guys, with everything happening over the offseason, and you kind of came in on the tail end, try to clean up a little bit of the mess. But when you did step into the position and kind of take over that role of head coach, with everything that had happened, what were some of the things that you had to overcome with the team, and some of the things you were trying to communicate to the young men?
Well, first of all, that we were going to definitely have a schedule. We're definitely going to be an 8-man team. And that was the direction. We weren't going to flip-flop and play different, play 11-man this week and 8-man next week. We are dedicated to being an 8-man football team, not only this year, but for the years coming until something changes or, if it just happens that way by the grace of God. But we're going to be an 8-man football team.
What's your so for those that aren't familiar with yourself, I kind of want to let people give you an chance to introduce yourself to everybody, and that's question one. And then question two is, when you came in, you kind of looked at it and said, "Hey, we need to play 8-man." What is your do you have any experience with 8-man, or whether it's be watching it or just how did you kind of gain some knowledge about it?
Actually, no, I have absolutely zero experience with 8-man other than watching film. As a recruiter in the Midwest, 8-man football was pretty big.
Oh yeah.
I was watching the talent on the team. I wasn't watching schemes.
Right.
So no, I didn't have any knowledge of it. Now, when I got the job, I reached out to a good friend of mine who was a teammate of mine in college, who's been a very successful 8-man football coach. So that he led me in the right direction.
Do you want to give him a shout out? You want to name names?
Yeah, Sean Murphy. He's in North Carolina at
Okay.
JP2.
Oh, JP2. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's outside of Greenville, North Carolina.
I think so. I think that's where it is.
So yeah, he was he told me I'd love it. It's right up my alley, and he enjoys it. And so I said, yeah, it can't be too hard. It's like going 7-on-7 if you're a passing team, but this time we're going to run the ball.
Exactly. Well, and then you just throw a couple more big boys in there, and there you go.
Yeah.
For those that aren't familiar, we'll give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, my name's Kirk Beathard. I spent over 30 years coaching in college football. Over the whole United States, from California to New York down to the South. And over the last 18 months or so, I've stepped out of football, and this opportunity came up in my area and from close to Spring Hill, Tennessee. And I said, yeah, maybe it's about right time to get back into it. Especially I was attracted by the small school environment. And then the best thing about it was it's a small Christian environment, which every bit of my beliefs involved in around what the school is, its mission statement. So
For sure.
I think God just put this right there in my lap and said, hey, I'm pushing you toward this. This is the time to get back in.
For those that, and I'll make this the last question, I appreciate your time. For those that aren't familiar with your team, I want to give you a chance to give some young men a little bit of recognition, maybe somebody that, really showed up on Friday night. And, again, score aside, you could still have young men that try hard and, that put the effort out there. And who are some of those guys from Friday night that did that, and then who's some guys that, when we come to broadcast the game Friday night, and people are watching that game, who do we need to keep our eyes on?
Well, Jaron Kaiser, our quarterback, and he plays defensive tackle for us, had the kind of game I expected of him, a no quit. He was injured. He played through everything, and he offered to play offensive line. He's that guy that just wants to go out and play football and win. And then Logan Abbott, our running back and linebacker, is the same type of kid. He had to jump in and play quarterback and running back and linebacker, and he returned kicks for us. And he's just that kind of kid that exhausted himself to the end, said, hey, I still want to play. And those are the things you sit there and go, wow, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love to hear it, Coach. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I know it was kind of quick, but, hey, got some good stuff, and good luck Friday night. Looking forward to seeing y'all.
Great, and thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes, God bless.
You too. All right, that's Coach Kurt Beathard from Zion Christian. There's the hang-up. Good stuff. And the whole turmoil over this past offseason with Zion, 8-man team with Coach Jeff Jordan, and then who went out of his he was an 11-man guy, came in, learned the 8-man game, and then they said, okay, well, we're going to go to 11. We're going to bring in this other coach. We'll knock Jeff Jordan down. So now they're 11-man, and they get a whole 11-man schedule. And then that coach resigns. And so Coach Beathard, major props to him stepping into that situation. We talked about it first show, just the stuff that was going on, and the mess. I would say the mess that he stepped into. It's really cool to see what he's been able to do there at Zion, and I'm looking forward to seeing Zion and Sacred Heart on Friday night. Sacred Heart, first game of the year, kind of excited to see what they've got, what they bring to the table. They weren't able to play in the Jamboree because of an equipment issue. They lost a whole lot of guys from last season, and so they've kind of got to rebuild. But Coach Blankenship down there, kind of getting the team on track and getting them set up. So that being said, we got a couple minutes left, and we'll. You know what? He's kind of a talker. We'll wait a minute. Coach Wilson likes to talk. I went through the games that happened this past Friday night, and looking at if I can get it pulled back up, because I want to look at the way some of the standings would shake out. Let's see. Where is it at? Awkward radio silence. It's not awkward unless you say it. All right, so the teams they are tracking, the NHSA that is. Where is that list? There it is. Okay. So let's see. Augusta Eagles would move to 0-1. Christian Community is at 1-1. Coastal Hurricanes, I believe they are 1-0. Cornerstone Christian Columbiana, I don't think they've played. Kind of skipping through a couple of these. East Central Homeschool are 0-1. I don't think they played this past weekend. I know they didn't. Evangel Christian 2-0. Talk about a couple of these games coming up this weekend. Let's see. So we talked about Sacred Heart and Zion. It's actually the first time they've played. Zion, of course, new to 8-man, didn't get a chance to play them last season, so that'll be cool. Let's go ahead and run through real quick. There's a couple 8-man teams that are playing 11-man teams across the board. So right off the bat, Tennessee Heat at Red Bull Inland Springs. Tennessee Heat has not struggled with Red Bull Inland Springs, and that's one of those teams that and I'm going to hop on a tangent here for a second. I don't understand the TSSAA's, hold back. I know what it is. I know they don't want public and private playing together. How do you make that work? Who cares? In the meantime, you've got teams struggling. You've got schools struggling. Let's fix this issue. Let's stop pushing it down, kicking the can down the road. Red Bull and Springs is one of those teams need to be 8-man. Just there you go. They need to be 8-man. There's several between 1A schools, D1, 1A, D2, single A. There's a couple schools that need to be 8-man. It's just that's how the way it is. Let's see who else has got some 11-man games. Wayne Christian, mentioned them out of North Carolina. They will play Rocky Mountain Prep on Friday night, I believe. And that'll be an 11-man game. First time playing each other. JP2, we mentioned them a second ago out of North Carolina. They'll play Northwest Halifax Academy. So JP2 playing up for a game. Arundel Parrott will be playing at Bear Grass Charter. 11-man game as well. And then on Saturday, the Greenville Hurricanes will be taking on the Anderson Cavaliers. They played a long time ago. Anderson Cavaliers kind of dominated I think it was 2 games they played. So Anderson Cavaliers got the win, but that was years and years ago. So couple 8-man teams going up to 11-man, kind of testing themselves. It hasn't gone well so far this year. Southern Prep, big loss for them, and I'm trying to see if there was anybody else that played up, and I don't think they did. Meadowview will be playing up Friday night. Meadowview Christian out of Alabama, they'll be playing Southern Christian. Southern Christian leads the series 7-0. So any other 8-man playing up? I don't see any. So there you go. Real quick, I do want to take a moment, and I know I mentioned them at the beginning of the show. The way this weekend went, a lot of people say, well, why, you keep mentioning these sponsors. They make stuff like this past weekend happen. It was not a cheap weekend. It was not an easy weekend, but these people, these companies, these individuals make it possible to do it. So quick shout out to Complete Wealth Management, Complete Real Estate. Of course, they're the sponsor of the show. Complete Wealth Management, Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. Goolsby and Young, Jason Goolsby and J.D. Young of Blackwell Realty. They bring knowledge, passion, excellence, experience to the table when it comes to real estate. You can reach Jason Goolsby at 615-784-8687. J.D. Young at 615-486-1121. Also, Fairlife Core Power Protein, work hard, recover harder. Brent Atkinson with Wycard Realtors, the Realty Group, and by Sutton Pools. You can reach Brian Sutton at 931-624-4027. All right. Now our next guest is a very talkative man. He loves to promote his team. He's the inspiration for the shirt that I wore, I think it was a couple weeks ago. And we'll bring him on. It's a little early. But joining me now is the head coach of Ezekiel Academy Knights. Big win this past Friday night over North River. Coach, appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Big win Friday night, but sometimes those big wins it can be hard to take things from those games, or sometimes you can see something that you go, man, I know we did well, but we've really got to work on this. What were some of the things you saw Friday?
Yeah, from a point of things we work on, we weren't really able to sustain a drive against them. We went 3 and out a couple of times. And also we struggled with their run game early on. Coach Bowden, my defensive coordinator, got that kind of in the second half. But those are some things that concerned us early on that we're definitely going to look at when we get back to practice tomorrow.
You guys get ready to take on Russell Christian, CFA team. You guys haven't played in a while, I don't believe. As you go into Friday night and get ready for them, what are some things you're telling your guys?
Well, Coach Braddock does a great job over at Russell Christian. I think he's won like 7 or 8 of his championships, and he's done it for a reason. He always has his guys ready to go, disciplined, and they do little things correctly. So, they're a very physical team. They like to get after you and hit. So, he's got some new faces this year. Some guys we're going to have to fill out and try to figure out. But yeah, I'm just kind of telling my guys, don't sit back on your heels because they're coming, and if you sit on your heels, they'll hit you in the mouth, and we'll be playing catch up.
Got a chance to catch media days down there for the conference for the ACSC, and couple things they asked you were able to answer. Um, in terms of that conference, of course, you guys have won the title 2 years in a row. And it's tough to win it once. It's tough to win it twice. It's dadgum near impossible to win it 3 times in a row. If that's even an option, if there's a possibility of that happening, what's going to have to happen in terms of you guys? Because you guys can't control other teams. What's going to have to happen for you guys to make that happen?
Well, for us, one strength of our team this year is the athleticism and speed of my wide receivers. But so far, one of my trying to replace a senior quarterback from last year, and so my quarterback play is going to have to be better than it has been. I know week one, he did throw for over 300, but a lot of those passes were behind the line of scrimmage. For us to be successful offensively, he's going to have to be able to push the ball downfield. I've still got 2 juniors that are kind of battling it out with Ryan Shelton taking the lion's share of the snaps. He's got a big arm, but we just got to work on that accuracy at quarterback. The offensive line's got to, pick up protection a little bit. That's been a weakness we've had at Ezekiel since I've been here. And then defensively, it's just the defense has got to find their identity. We replaced all 7 starters last year. You could call it 6 because one of our DBs was in, some. So yeah, we're replacing 6 defensive starters. So that defense has really got to find an identity. But right now we really aren't sure. We really aren't sure what we have and what we don't. We're still filling it out. And Friday night was a good test. North River is really, I think they're going to be a really good team in the AISA, and people don't realize that, but I think they're going to give the AISA a really good run for their money and finish a lot higher than people predicted.
Over 1,300 yards, 20 touchdowns. How do you replace Corey Murphy?
We
It takes a minute.
Yeah, that's and kind of the media day was this time last year. We didn't know Corey was as good as he was. We knew he was a running back, so but then he kind of took the next step throughout the season. Really, we're just looking for that guy to kind of take the next step, whether it be a receiver like Matty Spackman. It may not be somebody we turn around and hand the ball to 15, 20 times a game. It may be somebody we target 10 or 12 times a game instead of, so we're looking, it's definitely, as of right now, the game plan is to just kind of spread the touches and see who makes the most of those opportunities and kind of let it organically turn into somebody becoming the guy just by giving people in-game opportunities.
Now you guys got Russell coming up Friday night, and of course, every game you want to win. You want to get that win. You want to win Friday night. The next Friday night, you guys go to Huntsville to take on Freedom, and last season, of course, you had the little triangle. You guys beat Evangel twice. Evangel beat Freedom twice, and Freedom beat y'all twice. So, that being the case, how do you beat Freedom?
Well, I don't know, or we would have figured it out last year. But
I had to ask.
Yeah, and part of what happened last year is that first game was really a wake-up game for us because we kind of rolled through the first 2 and went in there. And, the coaches can say it until you're blue in the face. Hey, guys, you need to get ready. Need to get ready. And the preparation just wasn't what it needed to be, and that's why they jumped on us and controlled that game. And, with Freedom, and you saw it this weekend with Freedom, when Freedom controls a game, they control you start to finish. And so we've just got to figure out how to try to put some pressure on them. I didn't feel like last year in that first matchup we were really able to put any pressure on them. In Panama City, I felt like we figured some things out, but they still had us figured out. And so I really don't know. We're going to work our hardest next week. This week we have, I haven't even thought about it because Russell Christian is going to take every bit of effort from the coaches, from the players, from everybody involved. It's going to take all hands on deck to take care of Russell. And so maybe next week I'll give you some insight on Freedom, but I really have no idea right now.
There you go. Staying in that track, I want to go back to last season in Florida. When you guys lose, when you guys lose that game like you did to Freedom, that last second touchdown, 3 seconds left. I'm not trying to bring up PTSD, but What do you say to your guys after that game and after they've laid it out there? That game's gone the way it has, and at the end of the day, you guys aren't moving on to the title game. What do you say to your guys?
Well, you just try to remind the senior. We're a senior heavy team. First thing I said was, "Hey guys, that's on me." We made some critical coaching errors down the stretch there, and we were missing our defensive coordinator, and I didn't do a good job of kind of being prepared to make those in-game adjustments without him. So, the first thing I said was, "Hey guys, that's on me." There were some things I should have changed in the game to give us a better chance. And now, they probably still get us. You don't know, but I'd like to at least make those changes for the kids. But anyways, we had a lot of seniors, so you just remind them, look, this is the last time most of you guys get to play football. Make the most of it. Play your heart out. This is the game you all love. This is why you're out here. We rallied some of them, but I mean, truthfully, and it showed out there on Monday. We had a lot of kids that just really didn't want to be there. So that was kind of challenging to get everybody motivated when you had 50-50. But, Corey came out ready to play. Peyton Patrick came out ready to play. I had some guys who really wanted to be there that played very hard through that 2.5 quarters or whatever we got in. So, yeah, that's just really how you approach it, especially with a senior team.
Right, and every coach wants Friday night lights, Friday night football. You got the whole week to prepare. Saturday games, kind of throws your routine off a little bit. But you guys have 2 Thursday night games this year. I'm not going to ask what brought that about, but how do you kind of scale your week to because typically your walkthrough would be Thursday, game on Friday. Well, now I don't know. I don't know if you guys practice on Wednesdays, but how do you scale your week to kind of make those Thursday games feel like a regular game week?
Well, I'll give you a reason. The reason they're on Thursday, because it's a quick answer, and I feel like these people deserve a shout out. Our referee association asked us to play a couple of our home games not on Friday night because they have so few refs, and we're running into that referee shortage really bad. So
right.
They asked me to move. They asked me to move some to Thursday. Listen, they're working hard. I may not always see eye to eye with them, but where I can accommodate, I will. So I moved some Thursday. Now we don't practice on Wednesdays, so kind of how that'll look is we'll have a Monday and Tuesday practice, and we'll just scrap the walkthrough. Hope we get enough in on Monday and Tuesday, and show up. We'll probably have them at the field an extra 20 minutes early on Thursday to try to get a walkthrough in before the visiting team shows up. But outside of that, we just lose that Thursday walkthrough practice.
Now you don't have any Tennessee teams on the schedule. You played Tennessee Heat last year, of course. Is there anybody from another state that you look at and you really want to take a crack? It can be Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, anybody. Is there anybody you see and you really want to take a crack at? Maybe in Florida. Maybe you guys both have great seasons and this happens in Florida.
Let's see. So, I would love to see. Actually, it's an Alabama team, if you want me to be honest with you. I've heard really good things about Tabernacle this year, and I would love a chance to see Tabernacle in action.
There you go.
But I will say outside of the state, and I got to play him last year. But I love Coach Scott over at Tennessee Heat. He's a great guy, and anytime I get the chance to share the field with Coach Scott, I would love that opportunity.
All right, last question. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Last question. When do I get some Ezekiel merch? Because I don't know if you've seen the hat I'm wearing, but I love free merch.
I got you. Well, next time I order some, I guess I'll have to include you. Well, I'll take that back. I've got you a pullover that I ordered you last year that we didn't make the transfer in Panama City, so it's been in my bag for over a year now. So as soon as we see each other, you'll have it.
All right, fair enough. All right, Coach. Well, good luck Friday night with Russell, and we'll keep an eye on the game.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's Coach Hunter Wilson out of Ezekiel Academy, the Knights, 2-time defending ACSC champions, and a little bit of a crossover game there with Russell. It's always kind of interesting to see those. But I really need to pull it up and kind of see how many of those games are crossovers. 3 conferences there in Alabama. There's a whole lot of it. Matter of fact, you saw Lighthouse Homeschool beat Tabernacle Christian. Lighthouse Homeschool ACSC, Tabernacle Christian CFA. So it'd be interesting to see the kind of crossover. Of course, you had a crossover in Tennessee and South Carolina this past weekend. We mentioned the South Carolina games. Tennessee, you had TSIAA with Christian Community and the SEEC with Franklin Classical. And so technically, if we had a little whiteboard back here, it'd be TSIAA 1, SEEC nothing. There you go. So that actually isn't a bad idea. Get a whiteboard and just have like a tally board. This conference versus this conference. This conference. There you go. Might have to make that happen. It's actually a really good idea. Might have to do that. As we wait for our final guest of the day and see if we can't get him on, we'll see if we can't get him on. Want to run through real quick some of the games coming up this weekend and maybe talk about them in a little bit of detail as much as I can. So Friday night, you've got the Freedom Cowboys and Providence Christian Academy, the Lions. Lions coming off a big win. Freedom coming off a big win. First time that they've played, and Freedom's actually going to Murfreesboro for that game. So both teams sitting at 1-0. Should be a very interesting matchup. Another SEEC versus TSIAA matchup. So we'll see. Big one Friday night, Franklin Christian, who was off this past weekend, at Lancaster Christian. Now, Lancaster Christian leads the series 3-2, but one of those two was actually a forfeit during COVID, during the COVID year, 2020. Or 2021, one of the two. So, on the field results, Lancaster leads the series 3-1, and they beat FCA last year 16-14. One of the games where FCA kind of 4-5, trying to make some noise. They lost to Grace twice, lost to Lancaster, lost to Evangel, and let's see, who was their other loss? Kind of curious now. I'm sure Mr. Hasley would know off the top of his head, being on that team. But let's see. Shout out to Max Preps. Freedom Cowboys was the other loss, 38-14. So Lancaster Christian, of course, playing for the title last year, wasn't able to get it. Fell to Grace Baptist. So Deuce Bragg still on that path, try to get that title. And this is his last chance, senior year. Who knows? Christian Community will travel to Grace Baptist on Friday night. And the one time they played last year, we were there. Grace Baptist controlled the game, so they lead the series 1-0. Switching gears a little bit to let's go to the Heartland Conference. Of course, Heartland Conference teams in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Mississippi. So it's a pretty widespread conference in terms of travel. Trinity Christian takes on Southwest Christian in Little Rock. Southwest leads the series 3-2, but Trinity won both games that they've won in their series in 2021. One during the regular season, one during the postseason. And also Abundant Life at Arkansas Christian. Series is tied at 2-2. Arkansas Christian won the first two games, and then Abundant Life won both games in 2021. So they've got the 2-game win streak in that series. A couple of these next teams, it's an interesting situation in Oklahoma. Actually, one of the teams is from, let's see. No, they're both from Oklahoma. So, of course, Oklahoma, a lot of 8-man public school football. And so you actually have two instances of that. Foyle, I guess that's how you say it, Foyle, Foyil. Foyle High School is at Claremore Christian. Now, Claremore Christian leads the series 3-1, and they've won the last 3 games. So a little crossover there. And then Destiny Christian will be going to Velma Alma. Yeah. And that's the first meeting between those two. So exciting to see that one. I'm going to take a drink off camera because I can't. Oh, well. I like them. So, a couple other games happening. You've got another crossover, Cornerstone Spartans at Blue Jacket out of Oklahoma. And they played 2 games a long time ago. I think it was like 2011, 2012. Blue Jacket got the win in those. Switching to Alabama. You actually have a battle of the Evangels, Evangel Alabaster and Evangel Montgomery. Now, they've played 3 times, and all 3 times, I believe, happened in 11-man. Let's double-check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Let's see. Shout out to Max Preps. Love being able to. I'm glad they brought. For a while, they took it away. There's a thing, game history. It makes it so easy to find the history between teams. So let's see. Evangel Montgomery. Let's see. They're on there somewhere. Saw Evangel Family Christian. There it is. So yeah. Well, let's see. I want to say 2018. Let's see. Let's verify this. So Evangel Christian Montgomery. They played in 2017. Let's see. 2017, 2018, and then 2020. So, let's see. 2020, I think they were 8-man in 2020. 2018 and 2017, they were 11-man. So the first 2 matchups were 11-man, and the 2020 game was 8-man. So, second game in 8-man between these two. That would actually kind of be interesting to check it out. You will be able to watch it. Shout out to Evangel Athletics YouTube channel. They've got all their broadcasts, so always fun to catch up with those games. The East Central Homeschool Patriots take on North River Christian. Series is tied at 1-1, and East Central won the meeting last year in 2021, and then North River won the game in 2020. So, big win there for the Patriots last season. A little bit of a series going on, pretty evenly matched series. So, Southern Christian Patriots at Lighthouse Homeschool. They only played 1 time. That was last season. Lighthouse Homeschool got the win, so they lead the series 1-0. Russell Christian at Ezekiel. We mentioned that one. Russell actually leads the series 4-2, but Ezekiel's won the last 2 games. So they've kind of been picking up steam against the Warriors. So we'll keep an eye on that Friday night. Southern Prep at Springwood Academy. Of course, Springwood, one of those teams that just made the move to the AISA 8-man division. They were already AISA, but just switched to 8-man this season. Springwood leads the series 2-1. They played each other the 3 times in 11-man. Southern Prep played up. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Mentioned Southern Academy at Meadowview. It's an 11-man game. Meadowview playing up. And Southern Academy leads the series 7-0. Switching gears let's go to North Carolina. So games coming up. Friday night, you've got Halifax Academy at Faith Christian. They've only met 1 time. And Faith Christian got the win last season. So they lead the series, and they actually won that game, I believe, at Halifax Academy. So Halifax will be looking for revenge at Faith. You've got another interstate game. You've got Brunswick Academy out of Virginia, and they'll be taking on Pungo Christian. They've only played the 1 time. They have not played, rather. This is the first meeting. Brunswick Academy technically got a forfeit win last season, so they technicality lead the series 1-0, but on the field they have not been able to meet each other yet. So switching over to South Carolina, a couple games coming up. Let's hit the SCISA first. Oak Brook Prep and Newberry. I can't even talk today. Oak Brook Prep and Newberry Academy on Friday night. And I'm going to look at the game history real quick. Let's see. So this is the first game between these two. Okay, there you go. What other games happening on Friday night? You've got Lawrence Academy at Richard Wynn Academy. Lawrence coming off the big win against the Augusta Eagles out of the SCIFA. Lawrence and Richard Wynn, or Wynn Academy, as some people say. Let's see, Wynn Academy. See if it's on there. All right, so first time for them playing as well. Nope, here it is. They've played 10 times, according to Max Preps, going back to 2008. And Wynn Academy actually leads the series 8-2. And back in 2008, 2009, Lawrence Academy led the series, and then Wynn Academy has won the last 8 games, all blowouts. So there you go. And that was the SCISA Region 1, Region 2. Of course, you got Jefferson Davis Academy coming off the win against the Pack Panthers, and they will take on Faith Christian, who, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same Faith Christian. They played Harvest Academy out of the SCIFA. I don't have a score for that one, so. But it'll be Faith Christian and Jefferson Davis Academy, and then Cary Christian, who we'll see later on this season. They will be at Charleston Collegiate. Charleston Collegiate coming out of Region 2. So this will be a North Carolina versus South Carolina matchup, and I believe it's the first time they've played. Let me double check that. Let's see. Yep, first time they played. So there you go. That'll be a fun one to watch. Fun one to kind of keep an eye on Charleston Collegiate Sun Devils. So I think we touched on them when we ran through the list of teams. Georgia's got a bunch of games happening. Let's see. We'll run through those real quick. See if we might be able to get our guest. Let's see. I know New Creation is one of the GAPS teams out of McDonough. And they are in GAPS Region 2. So, Covington Academy will be traveling to Vidalia Heritage Academy. Let's look at Vidalia Heritage real quick. They have played 3 games, and Vidalia Heritage leads the series 3-0. 3 big wins, 2019 through 2021. Westminster Christian at Peachtree Academy coming up on Friday night. And let's see. First time game for both of them as well. So there's that. And then Praise Academy at People's Baptist and New Creation at Central Christian. I think Central Christian playing 11-man now, so New Creation playing up for that game. So there you go. A lot of games happening this Friday night. Football's really, really, really starting to get up and going. And, of course, Friday night we will be at Sacred Heart at Zion Christian. I don't know why I just struggled saying that. We'll be at Sacred Heart at Zion Christian. Excited to see those two teams play for the first time this season. Not first game for Zion, but our first time seeing them. But that being said, let's see if we can get this music going. There we go. This is Extreme Talk presented by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, Fairlife Core Power Protein, Brent Atkinson with White Card Realtors, Goolsby and Young, Jason Goolsby and J.D. Young of Blackwell Realty, and by Sutton Pools. For James Shannon, thank you so much for watching on Friday night. We'll see ya!